Burkina Faso has just done the unthinkable in a world where African nations are often portrayed as helpless without international aid, where development is dictated from foreign capitals, and where headlines rarely tell stories of African resilience. Something extraordinary has emerged from the Sahel. 100-kilometer canal has been completed by hand. Not funded by the IMF, not backed by USAID, not supported by the European Union. No loans, no consultants, no glossy presentations. Just shovels. Just sweat. Just belief. No foreign supervision. No press briefings. No strings attached. Only a bold act of self-determination. This is not just a canal. It's a question cut into the desert. What happens when Africans stop begging and start building? What if the aid we call development is just dependency dressed as generosity? What if the blueprints drawn in Brussels, Paris, and Washington were never meant for Africans to follow, but to obey? Look around. See the cracked land. See the children scooping dirty water from ditches, their bellies hollow, their eyes fading. Our parents labor under the sun, but never eat their fill. Our leaders have shaken hands, signed papers, and promised progress. But what have we gained? And then came the shift. In April 2024, a decree, quiet, deliberate, was signed by a man many now call Africa's boldest leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, just 36 years old, a soldier who became the symbol of a continent refusing to bow. His order? Build a canal, 96 kilometers, across two arid regions, Kugri and Makito. No donors, no debts, no delays. And they built it. The project had been rejected for over a decade. Global institutions dismissed it as ecologically dangerous, financially unrealistic, and politically irrelevant. But Traoré didn't ask if it fit their rules. He asked, does it serve our people? Instead of importing experts, he turned to local students, retired farmers, single mothers, and veterans. Instead of borrowing funds, he reallocated military spending. Instead of chasing approval, he dug. Day by day, kilometer by kilometer, a miracle took shape. No bulldozers, no machines, just human hands moving earth one shovel at a time. In just 127 days, the first streams of water began to flow. Farmers fell to their knees. Elders wept. The soil shimmered, as if the land itself remembered what it felt like to be alive. For the first time in decades, forgotten regions were reborn. Green shoots broke through the sand, and hope flooded in. This canal became more than infrastructure. It became a mirror, a reflection of what Africa could be, if we dared to believe in ourselves again. In the past, Burkina Faso had been paraded as a model aid recipient. For over 40 years, every drought, every famine, every crisis was met with a grant, a package, or a rescue loan. The IMF came, USAID came, the EU came. And they gave, but they also took. They took decision-making power. They took self-reliance. They took the right to choose. Farmers were forced to abandon their native grains for imported wheat. Markets were flooded with subsidized foreign goods. Local cooperatives collapsed. Young graduates had to seek foreign approval before building anything. Burkina Faso was no longer building itself. It was being built over. Until now. In the capital, a quiet rebellion grew. Students wrote signs. We don't need imported development. Villages stopped using foreign rice. Engineers revived ancestral techniques. Not as politics, but as pride. Still, the governments before Traoré kept speaking the language of donors. But the people, they were tired. Not just of poverty, but of powerlessness. Then, when everyone else hesitated, Traoré dug. And what happened next shook the region. Water now moves where none existed before. Fields have returned. Markets are reviving. Schools are alive with new questions. How did we do this? How can we do more? And yet, international silence, the same media that jump at every election in Africa, ignored the canal. The same donors who claimed the project was impossible, said nothing when it succeeded. But then came the shift. Suddenly, the story changed. Headlines began to appear in Western outlets. Not to celebrate, but to sow doubt. Burkina Faso's canal shrouded in mystery. Traoré trading gold for propaganda? Environmental and labor concerns rising. Human rights organizations raised alarms about working conditions. Think tanks questioned the legality of the funding. Terms like authoritarian localism emerged in academic journals. The world was not cheering, it was warning. Why? Because if Burkina Faso could do this without help, what would stop Mali? What about Niger, Senegal, or Guinea? What if aid wasn't needed at all? The backlash began. A $120 million IMF debt restructuring was suddenly postponed. An EU education grant was reviewed. German engineers canceled a solar energy visit. Leaked documents whispered what diplomats wouldn't say aloud. This cannot become a model. But Traoré didn't retreat, he doubled down. He called his neighbors, not Washington, not Brussels, but Mali, Niger, Guinea. In July 2024 in Ouagadougou they met. No suits, no handshakes with foreign bankers, just leaders, engineers, and citizens. The result? The Triangle Summit. From that, a regional self-reliance pact was born. Shared water systems, ancestral agriculture techniques, a local development bank. Not for profit, not for prestige, but for purpose. Burkina Faso began training journalists to tell their own stories. A new wave of media emerged. Africa digs canals, not debts. Videos of rice paddies, local children planting, elderly women laughing as they cook local meals beside fresh irrigation channels. The canal wasn't just feeding bodies, it was feeding belief. Still, the world grows uneasy. Western institutions fear the ripple effect. Because if Burkina Faso succeeds, it calls their entire model into question. And they don't need to launch a coup to stop it, they only need to make people doubt. Doubt Traoré. Doubt the canal. Doubt the idea that Africa can rise without them. But the people? They believed. In local schools, essays now begin with, "If I were an engineer, I would build more canals." Grandmothers plant rice beside new waters. Cooperative farms are growing, not because they're told to, but because they want to. For the first time in 20 years, Kugri is green. Not on a donor's map, but on the ground, in the hearts of the people. And this isn't just Burkina Faso's story. This is Africa's story. This is not aid. This is agency. Not dependence, but dignity. Burkina Faso stood up, said no more waiting, no more begging, no more debt deals that sell tomorrow to survive today. If you are a student watching this, ask yourself, will you wait for permission, or will you act? If you are a father, a mother, a worker, a believer, ask yourself, what legacy will you leave behind? A signature on a loan document, or a trench filled with water? A contract from a lender, or a future carved by your own hands? This is not the end of the story. It's only the beginning. Because now Africa knows it can build, can feed itself, can rise. The canal is a symbol of hope, of rebellion, of rebirth. Burkina Faso did not just move water. It moved history. And the world? The world may try to ignore it, or twist it, or silence it, but they can't undo it. Because once belief flows, it cannot be stopped. Africa is not broken. Africa is building. And this right here is where the rebirth begins.